usually have to do I feel like a little bit of an introduction for the guests on the podcast, but today's guest needs no introduction. You all know him, Marc D'Amelio. Marc, thanks so much for hopping on to join me today.
Oh, glad to be here, man. This is exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited. TBT's always been something of interest to me. It's fun, gives us basketball junkies something to watch in the summer here, and even better now that we've got a UConn team here. So I want to start with this one, Marc. I know that the UConn TBT talk was always brought up. It's been brought up, I feel like, since the tournament started. Everyone wanting a UConn team in there. Last year, you guys finally were able to break through and get that team in there. What was the process like of just getting a UConn team involved in this whole process?
So it was kind of interesting how it came together. I mean, I went to school with Chris Smith. I went to
Mhm.
UConn when he was there, and we knew each other. But over the last couple of years, we've become really good friends. And I talked to him about it, and he was like, definitely wanted to do it as a head coach. So once you get the leading all-time scorer of UConn basketball as your head coach, it was pretty easy to get it started. The guys at TBT were great. They knew who I was and knew that I had a social media reach, so it was good for them. And then once we got Chris, I built a relationship with Joey Calcaterra, and then I became friendly with Ryan Boatright, and then I knew RJ Cole. So all the pieces kind of fell into place, and it
Yeah.
was. I don't want to say it was easy. It was exciting and kind of came together pretty quickly.
Yeah. So you get year one under your belt. What was the biggest lesson learned from year one of this whole thing?
Look, it's still a business. It's it's to expect guys. First of all, we're building a brand, right?
Mhm.
And it's tough because you're building a brand off of the UConn brand, but we're not UConn.
Yeah.
We haven't won 6 national championships, and we don't have the facilities that UConn had. So we have a lot of advantages, but we also have a target on us because people think
Yeah.
we're last year coming off like they're beating the national champions.
Yeah.
So it's really a big endeavor, just like getting all the pieces together. It's not as easy as you think. It's a business. We had to get sponsors. It's expensive. So, and being for these 2 years, which were really behind the eight ball because we were away at Pittsburgh last year, which
Yeah.
was a hike. We did some cool stuff last year. We practiced at Gamble. We practiced in Norwalk, Connecticut, my hometown, and
Yeah.
we took a bus from Norwalk to Pittsburgh. So it was a lot of fun, but it was also tough.
Yeah.
So we're building the brand. Hopefully this year we win it. But we're going there with realistic expectations. And next year, I'm going to do everything we can to be in Storrs, Connecticut, playing a regional in the beginning. And I think we'll get there.
Yeah, that'd be very cool. What's the process like of going and putting a team together for something like this? Obviously, there's a lot of outreach to former players and alum, but what's it like just as you go about the process of putting this team together to go out there and compete?
Yeah, you got to have competitive basketball ready players, right? I mean, we had guys that were household names, but hadn't played in a while. You need to be in shape. The Penn State team we played against was a bunch of young guys. They shot the lights out. So, we'd rather get someone who's 1 or 2 years, 3 years out of college. The problem is that our players that are 1, 2, 3 years out of college are either solidified in the NBA or playing in Las Vegas right now
Yeah.
in summer league. So we had to scour a lot of ways. Getting Ryan Boatright, honestly, being our captain, and he's acted as assistant GM. He's worked really hard. We've had to go outside of UConn to get some players too. So, making sure the guys are ready to play is really important because there are a lot of young players that have just been playing nonstop. So, yeah, that's kind of getting the players that are ready to play and has been the most difficult.
You mentioned Ryan Boatright there. I know he's a UConn fan favorite. I think if you talk to anyone, he's one of the guys who's on the top of their list of UConn players they love. What's it been like getting to work with him? I know you mentioned he's been taking on a big role here, but he's just a guy who I know just has a great personality. He's always out there. But what have you gotten to experience in working with him a bit more?
He's just a really genuine person. I mean, he's a caring family guy. His brother is going to be coming with us as an assistant coach. So, he cared enough about
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, Mark, is it cool if we bring my brother Mike along?" I was like, "Absolutely." So we have another Boatwright or Ryan's brother with us. He's been great. I talk to him all the time. We did an Instagram live
Yep.
with me and Tyler, and he jumped on. But he's I'd consider him a good friend. I've been blessed, man. It's like as much as all this craziness that's happened with my family,
Mhm.
and all the people I've met and living in California and all that cool stuff, it pales in comparison to having access and friendships with guys like Chris Smith, Ryan Boatright, and that's what I geek out about. So as I'm sure most
Yeah.
UConn fans would appreciate.
Definitely. Another guy you mentioned there is Tyler in the Instagram live you did with him. He's taken on an elevated role this year. What have you what's it been like getting to talk and work with Tyler?
Yeah, he's a great guy. Again, like a lot of people, because look, I'm well aware of the that our my last name, although I was a UConn fan and a UConn alum before any of this craziness. I know that because of my daughters, guys like a lot of people know who we are. So, when I walked up with, like, it's funny now because guys like, whether it's Khalid Al-Amin or Tyler that come up to me and like, they know who I am. And I'm like, dude, you have no idea how much I know who you are.
Yeah.
And so, but we're all freaking human beings, and we're all people trying to figure out life, and we're all just, so once you break it down like that and you get over the fact that I have a bunch of followers on social media because my daughters are famous, and the fact that Tyler has two national championships and had a professional baseball career. He's a normal guy,
Yeah.
and we share the love for UConn, and we have that common bond. And it's just been a pleasure to get to know these guys.
Yeah. When you look at him from a coaching perspective, it's really, I mean, I know he's done some work at St. Joe's, but this is a debut for him in front of UConn fans from a coaching perspective. What should we expect from a coach Tyler Olander?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's funny is I think he and Chris are going to have two different styles. Like Chris is a Bridgeport guy, direct, in your face, and it's funny. Like I see I've seen Chris Smith as a player, and I know he was one of the better point guards, probably top five point guard we've ever had. Maybe you might put him a little bit outside of that, but I think you could argue he's been in the top five. And to see him, going at it with Ryan Boatright and some of the other guards was awesome. I think you're going to get a little bit of a different coaching style from Tyler. He's coached recently on the college
Yeah.
level. He's still coaching at St. Joe's. I'm excited to get Jeff Calhoun and some of the other assistants in. I've known Jeff for a while. I mean, I think when I graduated the following year, I think he got up to UConn in '92. I remember seeing him hit 3-pointers at the field house between games when before we opened up Gamble Pavilion. So exciting. So I think we have a real, not that Chris Smith wasn't a real head coach, but Chris Smith had a full-time job and played in the NBA, and this was kind of a side hustle for him. Chris Smith Jr. actually is really had more credible coaching experience than Chris Sr. did recently. But Tyler's a real deal, man. He's been coaching at St. Joe's. He's been working. Obviously, knows the Calhoun family really well. So I think we're going to be in for a great coaching staff and great coaching ability. I do think the one thing that's tricky is we don't have a ton of time to what we get to Syracuse a couple of days before our first game. So
Yeah.
we just
You got it.
secured practice facilities today. And I'm doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Like I'm getting our insurance coverage so we can practice at a facility, which is stuff that I didn't think I was going to need to do. But we're definitely a hands-on team at Stars of Storrs.
Uh, I think one thing that's really cool to me, and you mentioned it a little bit in talking about Chris Smith and Ryan Boatright being involved in the same team. I think it's so cool to see the different eras of UConn basketball all in one place here. I mean, it's cool to me from your perspective as helping put this whole thing together. How cool is it just to see these different groups of players interacting with each other?
It is, but here's the crazy thing, and I told Ryan this the other day. I'm like, he started calling Chris Smith OG, like, yo, OG, OG. And I'm like, dude, you don't understand. Chris Smith was 6'4", friggin' lightning fast, crazy crossover. Like, he looks at us as just older guys, and I look at both of them as star guards for the
Yeah.
University. So it's funny, and I mess with them too, and they've seen size. When you get over that, different eras, different ages. Like, we just had a friggin' blast out, like going out to dinner in Pittsburgh and we just had so much fun. And I think we all just got to know each other really well. And I hope we get a lot of people driving out to Syracuse and seeing the game. I think I put up, I think they're giving us 40 tickets, and I
Okay.
allocated 20 for the team. And I put up on Twitter, we're going to give 20 away. It's a really cool event. You get super close access to everybody. We'll be doing some events, either dinners or nights out in Syracuse. We'll have some fun. So I would tell anybody who's a UConn fan and that's wishing for a little UConn basketball, this is the perfect opportunity to come get your summer fix.
Definitely. I know we talked about a few of the guys involved here, but take us through some of the other guys you've got on this team this year that fans who maybe are just tuning into the whole TBT thing can have the chance to check out this summer.
Yeah, we're still working on some stuff. I mean, I'm making last minute uh, emails and messages to other players. We do have some players. Eli, who I believe he played at Clemson and Baylor. He's coming in from Mexico. He's in incredible shape. Like, we had to go, people rightfully so will yell at me because we got some guys outside of UConn. But look, I've done everything. Like, I know Rudy Gay. There's some guys that I know, like a Jake Bosco, that just hasn't played in long enough. But guys are, we'd love to get UConn guys, but I just think it's
Yeah.
difficult. So we've gone outside. I'm trying to think of who. I think we're going to get RJ Cole coming back again this year. It's tough. So this is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with guys that have played in Europe that are ready to play,
Mhm.
just got home, and they're like, dude, I've been playing basketball for months in a foreign country. I'm back in US soil. The last thing I want to do is play. You have guys like, I mean, from Cam Spencer to all these guys playing in summer league. So you think the pot between
Yeah.
when you pull out the guys that are just, no, I don't want to be ageist, but the guys that are just too old that aren't going to be competitive, when you pull them out, we take the young guys that were playing in Europe that just don't want to play any right now, and you pull out the guys that are playing in summer league or have NBA contracts. The one guy we're so close to getting, who was in our collective and we did NIL deals with him, was Adama. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still hoping if somebody could, like, I'm still hoping we land Adama. But I get it. His agent
Yeah.
is holding out. A lot of people feel, which they're wrong, a lot of people feel like if they go into TBT and they don't have a good showing, it's going to be negative. But what you get with Stars of Storrs is we have an incredible social media reach. After 1 year, we're probably the third or fourth most followed social media on TBT.
Okay.
We do really well, and I think we're going to even do a better job amplifying the players. So that's some of the stuff we're trying to do. But I'm still holding out hope for Adama.
Just like Alex, grilling season is back. And while our favorite team reloads, it's your turn to load up the grill with Martin Rosel's, the best meats Connecticut has to offer. Since 1928, Martin Rosel's has been crafting top quality hot dogs, kielbasa, and sausages using original recipes and only the finest ingredients. So as the warm weather returns, remember, both championship teams and great cookouts start with the right lineup. Look for Rosel's at your local grocery store or stop by their retail store in New Britain. And now back to the episode. When you talk about that a little bit in terms of like just the scope of all that you have to offer, I think sometimes people think this tournament, oh, it's just a summer tournament, it's TV, it's fun to watch, but from being up close, like this is serious basketball, right? Like these players are taking these games seriously.
Yeah, I mean, when you start to get into Louisville and Kentucky, even like the Penn State team that we played last year, like they had all played together, and they were at a level where maybe they didn't get the looks from the NBA, but they were all really good players. They shot the lights out, and we
Yeah.
did, Ryan and RJ and everybody. I think we were down by 20 at one point. We came back really close, but it's really interesting. And the other thing is that last year, for the fans out there, last year we were on streaming. This
Mhm.
year we're on TV.
Okay.
We're on Fox. First game out of the box. Hopefully, we play Syracuse in the final, but I don't want to overlook some of the other teams that are in our region. But it's fun, man. It's such a good experience. Like it's hard to explain what TBT does and why I'm so excited about it. But it's something that one of the learning things that I'll say is we got to start early. We have to
Mhm.
start early with sponsors. We have to start early with being able to raise some money because a few $1,000s to these players in the summer will make a big deal. And anyone that says that you don't need to pay the players isn't 100% doesn't understand exactly what's going on. So I wish we had a little bit more sponsorship money this year to spread the wealth, but there is $1 million prize when you win.
Yeah.
So there are a few payments along the way that will go to pay expenses, but the final payout is $1 million. And our plan is to take a little bit of that money, pay the coaches a little bit of money, pay the collective a little bit of money, but for the majority, that money is going to be split with the team. So it's exciting. Be a huge payday for anybody who wins.
Yeah, definitely. And you talk a little bit about the matchups that might be on the horizon there. We haven't seen a UConn Cuse basketball game in a while, so if we could get that in TBT, I think it'd be pretty exciting.
Yeah, this is so Syracuse, Boeheim's Army, I think took last year off
Okay.
um, and regrouped this year. So they got the regional. So it's going to be exciting. I mean, I've never been in. I've been to Syracuse a bunch of times. I don't know that I've been in the summer. I don't know there's any reason
Yeah.
to go there in the summer, but here we are.
There,
Hopefully their fans treat us well.
yeah.
It's funny, but we'll see. I don't know because we haven't had that direct rivalry in some time since they left the Big East. I
Yeah.
think I think we'll be fine over there.
Yeah, yeah. And if anyone's making the trip up there, it's a little preview for when you want to go back up in the fall to see football play up there, second week of the season. So get a
Yeah.
little hint of Syracuse there. Uh, I know one thing that's obviously in your wheelhouse is all of the branding components of things, and you've mentioned a little bit about the Stars of Stores and in the branding. Just take us through what this opportunity means, not only just for the team here, but just for the overall picture of UConn athletics and kind of this secondary kind of offshoot of the brand.
Yeah, I mean, my background, people don't know, is before I got involved in social media, my background was sports licensed apparel. I worked with everyone from pro player to I'm still involved and on the board at Mitchell and Ness. So I understand branding. I branded my Norwalk High's whole program. Like I understand a guy that helped me design this logo or actually design this logo has worked for me at my clothing company, Travis, who's an artist out in Brooklyn. So we built a brand. It's not a problem, but although we're affiliated with UConn, we don't have any direct affiliation, and their brand is so national, so huge that I just get concerned that we don't want to do anything to tarnish their brand. UConn, Tom Moore and Danny Hurley were great last year. UConn social media reposted us after we won. They did a collab post, and we'd like to get it in a situation where part of this money doesn't necessarily go directly to D'Amelio Huskies. It goes directly to UConn men's basketball, where we kind of do a partnership. And next year, if we do it at Gamble, there will be money allocated through TBT directly to UConn basketball. But it's a little bit of an interesting situation because
Yeah.
I'm a graduate, I'm affiliated, I have a collective that I run that's affiliated, but we don't have 6 national championships, and it doesn't say UConn anywhere on it. It's just UConn players, So
Yeah.
and we want to do the brand right. I mean, and I think I've done a good job building this brand. But like anything in sports, you got to win, and that's what we got to build.
Well, I know everyone will be excited to check it out in what's the first game? The 18th? Is that the first game?
Yeah, I believe it's at with a late game, so I believe it's Saturday at 8 o'clock.
Okay. All right. Saturday, 8 o'clock will be the first one. You mentioned it's on Fox, so some big time TV there. I'd be remiss if I didn't hit a little bit on the collective front with you before we sign off here. I know that that space has changed so much since you've gotten into it. Now we've got the revenue sharing. What's it been like for you as part of this journey from being kind of on the forefront of things when the collectives all first came on the market to where things are right now?
Yeah, I mean, it was totally different than what I thought. Like, I got into it with my sports licensed apparel background, knowing what we pay, what the NBA pays athletes through their, the Players Association and separate deals Mitchell and Ness has done. My friend
Mhm.
David Briggs handles all those deals. So I knew that business, coupled with us getting thrust into California and doing brand deals. I thought it was going to be more from a mentorship and helping UConn athletes develop their personal brand. And that's where we went. During this time, though, it kind of became a little bit of a pay for play. And and I don't really have much interest in that. I'm so glad that they're going to a revenue share. And we'll see, if D'Amelio Huskies can continue to do what we've done. I mean, I'm very proud of the fact we've been able to have a men's and women's athlete in every sport.
Yes.
But we've also done some really good things as far as helping secure players that, I built a really good relationship with Cam Edward, out of Norwalk, and helped make sure he stayed on campus this year. I mean, he's a freaking incredible running back. So we'll see. I don't know where collectives like us will go in the future. But if we can keep doing what we're doing and help out a bunch of student athletes and kind of mentor them on social media, building their personal brand. But we were never the collective that walked to a player with a bag of money and said, how do we keep you? I used social media and my personal relationship with these players to just to just kind of be just to be a supplement to what Bleed for Blue is doing. And now, honestly, I would rather it's not that it's a headache. It's just it's uncharted territory, and it's so new for everyone. It was a great learning experience and very very rewarding. But who knows where it's going to go?
Yeah, I know given your branding background, I'll just wrap with this one. What's your biggest piece of advice to these athletes when you're talking with them from a personal branding standpoint? Because I think now more than ever, especially for these student athletes, they have such a big opportunity to capitalize and really create that personal brand at such a young age. It's a really cool opportunity for them.
Yeah, I mean, consider yourself. I say a couple of things. I'm like, collaboration is key, right? Hopefully, me collaborating with you here, my name, believe it or not, is going to be shared to a bunch of people that have never heard me speak. And that's why I do things like this, obviously, aside from my love for UConn. So I tell these players, collaborate. I mean, I think that back in the day where the basketball players would hang out with the basketball players and the football players would hang out with the football players, I'm like, just within UConn alone, a football player collaborating with a swimmer opens up build your personal brand, extend your audience, and that is currency that you're going to be able to use forever. Whether you become, I mean, statistically, very few people are going to become professional athletes. So
Right.
use this spotlight and this time. Use me when you can. And when I say use in a word, lean on each other.
Hmm.
And that's what I've said to them. I think they all understand that works. I'm very accessible to all the players in our collective and all the players on the TBT team. I want to use my platform to help them. And it helps me, honestly. I mean, it keeps me young. It keeps me hanging out with a bunch of cool people, and that's it. But that's what I would say, right? Expand your audience, and do that through collaborations and staying active. Some people are really good at it. If you look at like a Cam Spencer, I don't even think the kid had social media.
Right. Yeah.
So
No.
so it's kind of funny if they're excited about it. Like Victor Rosa is a great example of a kid who hopefully plays in the NFL. Hopefully he's got a long professional career, but if he doesn't, he's done a great job building his personal brand, comes from an incredible family. And I would hire that kid in a second if he decides to go into the corporate world.
Yeah. Well, Mark, I really appreciate the time. Excited for TBT. Before you go, just plug the brand. Let everyone know where they can follow TBT and Stars of Stores, how they can find out all about you guys.
Yeah, the best way is we're on Instagram, Stars of Stores. It's for the people who don't know, Stores is spelled Storrs. And I think social media is the best, either Instagram or X, Twitter,
Yeah.
and that's it. And then look for the TBT website. It's the basketball tournament, and see when we're playing. But I would do the ride, man. It's a beautiful summer ride out to the middle of New York in Syracuse, and come visit, say hi. You'll definitely get access to the team and the players, and we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, Mark, really appreciate it. Best of luck to you and the team, and I hope we'll be doing another one of these coming a little later in the summer with a little trophy and check presentation.
I hope so, Jared. Anytime you want to talk, I'm here, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark.
All right, bye, buddy. Thank you.